Let's take a look at geometry 4.3, number 18. This is a word problem. And what the problem is asking us is to find the area of the pita chip. So it says, baked pita chips are often in the shape of a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Caitlin finds that the longest side of a pita chip is in one bag measures 3 centimeters. What is the area of the pita chip? So the first thing that I needed to do was come in and go, what am I looking at? Well, the longest side of a triangle is always going to be the hypotenuse. So it's always going to be C. And what they're saying is that this side measures 3 centimeters. So that's how I came up with C equals 3 centimeters, because the longest side, and it's telling me it's 3 centimeters. Now what it wants is for us to find the area. And as we looked at before, the area is 1/2 base times height. So before I can determine the area, I have to find out what the base and what the height of that pita chip is. And in this case, we're calling it A. And we know that the formula to solve for A on a, if we as long as our triangle is 45 degrees and 45 degrees and 90 degrees, we're good here. And so then I use this formula, C equals A squared B. So looking at this, C is 3 centimeters, and it's going to be equal to A times the square root of 2. So I want to find, what am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for A. So this is my variable. This is what I'm solving for. So I need to get everything else away from it. So I'm going to divide out the square root of 2 so that I can get A by itself. And then what I do to one side, I must do to the other. Okay, this allows, now it allows for this to cancel out, leaving me with A, which is going to be equal to 3 over the square root of 2. And again, I can't have a square root on the bottom, so I'm going to use my form of 1. Okay, and then when I work this out, okay, my 3 times square root of 2, 3 square root of 2, over square root of 2 times the square root of 2, square root of 4, leaving me with A equaling 3 times the square root of 2 over 2, because the square root of 4 is 2. So that's going to allow, that gives me A. So now I know that A equals So this is what I'm going to be plugging in. Now I can go and determine my area. And remember that the height of the triangle here is equal to A, right? So A will fit in here. And then the base is equal to A as well. So then A will fit in here. And then I'm going to plug in the numbers for A to here, and then again to here. So now I can write a new equation, and I can put my numbers in. I can say A is equal to 1/2 times 3 times the square root of 2 over 2 times A again, right, which is up here. So 3 times the square root of 2 over 2. And now I'm going to do all this in one step now to kind of show you how you can speed the process up. So 1 times 3 is 3, times 3 is 9, and then the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4. And that is going to all be over 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. And so now, with a being 9 times the square root of 4 over 8, I still have one more step to do as far as with the square root, because now square root of 4 is 2. So I take 9 times 2, right, because I got to break the square root down, over 8. And then 9 times, and then I got a couple ways that I can do this. But basically, I can either take and simplify the 2 and the 4 and make that, or the 8 and make that 1/4, or I can say 9 times 2 is 18 over 8. And then when I plug this into the calculator, it's going to give me A equals 2.25. And just to give you a look at how this goes, it's because 8 goes into 18 twice, right? So that is going to leave me with 2 and 2/8. And then the 2/8 right here simplifies to 1/4, leaving me with A equals 2 1/4. But 1/4 is equal to 0.25, okay? And that's where this 0.25 comes from. So it's 2. Let me change the color so you can see. So basically, when this is all said and done, the reason it becomes a decimal is because 2 right here is this 2. And then the 1/4, which I showed you right here, the 1/4 is going to be equal to 0.25. And that's why right here you have the 0.25. Okay, so my final answer is A equals 2.25. And since it's centimeters, we want to make sure we use the proper units, because it's a big difference between 2.25 centimeters and 2.25 kilometers, right? Kilometers. All right, so that concludes number 18. Hopefully that helps. Let me know if you have any questions.